Dads of Reddit, should I look when my wife gives birth? I'm not a dad, and I've never been through childbirth. But I know a lot of dads. My dad looked passed out, was totally useless after trying to glance. My mom was unsurprised. My friend watched his wife literally pull their first kid out of herself. And he thought it was the coolest, grossest, most awesome thing ever. He still gets her flowers on their firstborn's birthday every year, because of how cool he thought it was. My friend's husband looked, became entranced, and pretty much was just astonished. Like he couldn't look away. But he was in total shock. 4 times. He is fascinated every single time. I think if you look, be sure you've watched a video of childbirth beforehand. It just kinda prepares your brain for watching a person come out of your wife. Congratulations. And I wish you and your family all the happiness in the world. Stay at the head end holding her handmate. I've witnessed one birth, and despite feeling squeamish in advance and worrying about being grossed out when it was happening, there was nothing weird about it. Years later, the first thing I have to say about it is always that it was so freaking cool. On the one side, it was incredibly special to be there helping my best friend bring her daughter into this world. It felt incredibly bonding for us and for my relationship with the child. But besides, from the emotional level, it was fascinating. I'm average squeamish, I'd say. Definitely veering between curious and grossed out by injuries or media portrayals of surgeries, etc. But I felt zero squeam and 100% fascination during the birth. It wasn't awkward or weird seeing my friends up close and naked. Because this is a very unique, special and literally life-changing, life-creating moment. Normal rules don't apply. Your wife's bits are not serving a sexual purpose at the moment. They won't look sexy. And I dare to say, that shouldn't matter one bit. I think it is important to separate my partner from their sexuality. My partner can have a toxic fart 1 minute, and the next be totally sexy to me again. To be human is to have gross bodily functions, not to be sexy all the time. So do you think you can compartmentalize the potential grossness of seeing your wife giving birth, while still maintaining sexual attraction to her? Just not in that moment. If the honest answer is no, then don't watch. But you will miss out on the inspiring sight of seeing the human life that you helped create to enter the outside world. I really hope that you get this chance, and that you can accept your wife's body as it serves non-sexual purposes: pregnancy, childbirth, breastfeeding, and when the time comes, let these coexist separately with her sexuality and sexiness to you. Edit. Spelling. Witnessing a birth was hands down one of the coolest, most awesome experiences of my lifetime. I am someone who has always been very interested in medical things and am not remotely squeamish, so I am sure that was a factor. But getting to be one of the first people to see a new human, to literally watch them go live when they take their first breath, absolutely amazing. For the first child, Elle didn't know what to expect. Just stood by the bed, held her hand, and did whatever she said to do. Second child pretty much the same. But she did bite me. Went natural that time. Third time sat in the corner sipping coffee. If she needed anything, I would attend to it. By the time she had the third child, she had already went through 2 miscarriages. One, she woke me up in the middle of the night. We were both covered in blood. Bed was soaked. I didn't realize how much a person could bleed until that night. Almost lost her. She passed 22 years later of cancer. She was the light of my life. I miss you, sweetheart. Take a gander. Then you'll be on the same page as your wife regarding postpartum sex. If it's a C-section, I recommend against looking if you are even allowed to. She's basically opened up and stuff that should be inside is no longer inside. If it's a natural birth, that's really up to you. There is no right or wrong. Would you look at an open heart surgery? Would you want to check your wife for hemorrhoids? In general, do you want to see very medical things? If yes, then sure, it might be worth watching. But if those things don't sound super appealing to you, then maybe just stay back and let the medical professionals do their thing. I didn't care if my partner looked. I was high on stuff and had epidural. Thanks science. My partner was holding my hand one moment, then next he was at the bottom being handed our baby. After cutting the cord, I remember looking at him and he looked when he should NT and he said he won't be forgetting it for a while and looked away disgusted. Tons of blood was pouring out of me on the floor and I was a bit confused since I felt no pain, but I had 13 surgeons around me. In the end I blacked out and had a blood transfusion. So his advice is look if you want. But yay, it's messy. Then I was wheeled off to surgery and he was handed a small beautiful little baby for 3 hours alone. He went from grossed out, worried, bewildered to happy. He still loves me all the same. He soon forgot basically. Birth doula here. I've been to hundreds of births. Most partners do look. Especially when I or the nurse or doctor say, "Oh, I can see hair." But some don't. The vast majority of the time, partners who look have wonder and excitement on their faces. It's up to you whether you look or not. I personally think it's pretty amazing. But clearly I'm not easily squicked if I'm in this line of work. My ex-husband was amazed and thinks I'm a goddess after seeing me give birth for what it's worth. My husband watched. He said it was the grossest thing he had ever seen. He will finally watch horror movies with me. He still loves me and still finds me attractive, so watch or don't. Woman shrugging. Men who lose all sexual attraction for their woman after watching her give birth need therapy. I stayed from the waist up and never regretted it. I had a friend who videotaped the whole thing and he seemed alright. You do you. When your partner is giving birth, your job is to support her, help her, think of what she needs. It's very likely that you will be so busy doing this, you won't even remember this was a question for you. Because those last few pushes are damn hard work. My partner was in my face, getting me to concentrate, telling me I could do this, and holding my hand so I could have something solid to help me get the job done. Just as we had practiced. All we both remember about it was staring in each other's faces to get the work done. And then hearing the wee ones. You are going to be okay. What you do or don't see isn't the important thing here. I was the one giving birth. And I'm married to another woman. So perhaps this perspective is skewed. But I don't know how she could have been in the room and helping me without looking. Not like she'd be tempted or not. But like physically there was no way to not see. She was really in it, holding my legs, coaching me, bringing me water, etc. There was a big mirror set up so that I could see what was going. There was really no way for my wife to avoid looking, unless she was going to be totally disconnected from what was happening, which would not have been very supportive. Be there for your wife. Look if you want, but you aren't there to stare. My ex needed my help holding her leg and hand, so I got a pretty close-up look. The can't unsee people sound like children to me. You need to be there for her, no matter where that takes you during the birth. Hold her hand or her legs or touch her face, etc., etc. Do whatever you want. The guys that freak out at the thought of watching things unfold are babies. No pun intended. I was there, and saw pretty much everything while my daughter was born. Spent very little to no time thinking about it ever again. I caught both of my kids as they came out. So I think you should absolutely look. It sounds a little heavy-handed, but my thoughts are basically, your wife is going through possibly the most painful traumatic event in her life. She's feeling it. You can at least look to get an idea. I can't believe all these dads. Yes. You watch your kid being born. Unless your wife tells you otherwise. Basically, do pretty much whatever she tells you. It is the most amazing thing you'll ever see. It's absolutely disgusting at a basic level. And if you don't see it, you'll probably regret it. Do whatever she wants you to do. I personally would have been very, very sad if my husband hadn't watched the baby come out. If he simply couldn't stomach it, I would understand and I wouldn't have forced him to. But I think it was very special that he got to see all of that. If the woman doesn't want you to, then don't. If she does, then try to.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.